Kensington Market is known and loved for being completely unique. One food spot after another, art spaces, mom and pop shops. But if you've been here lately, you know it is a community divided. At issue is an overdose prevention site. It's one of 5 in Toronto within 200 meters of a school or daycare. That proximity is why the province wants to shut them down by next spring.
And I was just wondering how you would feel if I stuck one of these beside your house. You wouldn't like it. Matter of fact, I know you wouldn't like it, neither would your neighbors and neither would anyone else. And all the kids, they shouldn't be by schools, they shouldn't be by daycares.
The move comes after an innocent bystander was killed last year. Police allege a drug deal went bad outside a supervised drug consumption site in Leslieville. A mom of 2 killed by a stray bullet.
You gotta back her right up past the yellow tape.
This is just not a place where you can have people, shooting up on the street and potentially gun violence in the street.
Well, everyone I spoke to agrees her death should never have happened. There's heated debate about whether shutting down a number of sites is the answer. So we wanted to hear directly from people who use supervised drug consumption sites. We go inside the one here in Kensington Market to hear their personal stories and what they wish the government and the public could understand about the sites. Plus, we also hear from the people who live, work, and raise kids nearby to hear their experiences.
Welcome to our supervised consumption site, the Kensington Market Overdose Prevention Site. They're given that equipment and then they're assigned a table and they'll come through here, be assigned a table, they'll sit down, turn the light on so it's nice and bright. It's going to pause and do this first.
There was a gentleman in a chair he had already used, and staff observed that he wasn't getting enough oxygen. Things got pretty intense pretty quickly. They put on an oxygen mask, they covered him in a blanket, and they've asked us to step outside.
How are you feeling? We're going to put some oxygen on you, okay, buddy? You're just not getting enough O2 in you. That's what's making you cold, I bet.
After about 20 minutes, Barb Panter, the senior manager of the site, lets us back in. The man is still in the room, and out of respect for his privacy, we don't discuss his situation specifically. But Barb and a worker show us how oxygen therapy can be a lifesaver.
Providing this oxygen is just enough for many people to get their oxygen up. Most of the overdoses we reverse here are through oxygen therapy. We don't even need naloxone because we've seen them and we can start monitoring them right away.
We've heard a lot of things said about these kind of sites in the media and from politicians. What would you want people to know about what happens in here?
I want people to know that this is a life-saving service. This is a healthcare service. We literally save people's lives here every day.
It can be variable things. I mean, when I come here, that blue chair on top of the desk in there is the way I sit at all the time.
Yeah.
To do my choice of drug.
Patrick Chisholm speaks without reservation. He's been coming here for years. Almost immediately, he talks about what the potential closure could mean.
I don't know if you guys remember when we had that garbage strike, the piles of garbage. That's going to be bodies. That's what they're going to be doing. If they close these sites down, they're going to have piles of bodies all over the place. Okay, is the government ready for that? Just makes me so angry. A place that's doing good for people, why are you touching it?
The overdose prevention site in Kensington Market first opened 6 years ago. Local hospitals and paramedics identified the neighborhood as a hotspot for overdoses. It operates without government funding, running instead on community donations. About 700 people are registered to use the service. They come into this room, there's handwritten messages on the wall, and a space to remember all those who've died. While some supervised consumption sites offer safe drug supply, Kensington does not.
What are you using today?
They think because you're able to do the drugs here, they think they give the drugs. No, all they're doing is giving clean supplies so we don't spread, hepatitis or AIDS or whatever the case may be. You can shower, you can do your laundry, you can eat, you can sit down and watch TV.
She's part of the peer support program, sharing her lived experiences with people struggling with addiction.
I've been an addict since I was 15. I'm 51 today. And, you know, like for me to be alive or not in jail, it's very rare. And to have the opportunity to be working again in the community, it means a lot.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And you know, I'd probably be dead, or there would be more deaths if we didn't have this place to come to.
When you heard that news that this was going to happen, what went through your mind?
You're gonna see people overdosing just on the corner. They're using in the bathrooms that locked there so you can't get saved. Now they're gonna have to break the door down, call the fire department. There's gonna be tons of those. There has to be a happy medium, like you don't want us by daycares or schools, but in Toronto we're so on top of each other, you're making that kind of impossible. You know what I mean?
During a recent morning drop-off, we stopped by 2 daycares less than 200 meters from the Kensington overdose prevention site.
When you walk by over here, there was open drug use at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's right next to kids walking by. They've had an incident, or actually a couple of incidents at the school where people who were using and obviously in need of treatment were walking up the street without clothes on. He's shouting at kids and parents, and it's just the whole thing is needs to be treatment, not just consumption.
When you hear the province is taking this step to shut down sites within 200 meters of schools and daycares, what do you think?
I think it's the right move. I think it's long overdue.
We were looking at this one, and the first thing we saw when we came with the car, we realized that there were a lot of people using drugs in the area, and it was a bit scary. But that didn't discourage us to choose this daycare.
Your little one is going to daycare now?
Yeah, he's on his way right now.
How long have you guys been going to the
2
daycare?
years. I've heard stories of at night them hopping the fences and hanging out in this area. I mean, actually, if you just go down to Kensington here, I have to go by that every day, and it's always, the cops are always there. There's a playground there no one uses. So to me, it's like you can find a spot. Let's just be logical about where to put it.
Have you ever thought of going to a different daycare because of what you've seen?
Oh, no. I think what's going to happen is there's a slow buildup with parents and residents. And there's a certain threshold where you're going to see a mass exodus. We're already seeing an exodus from Toronto in general. And so it starts with the neighborhoods like this. And people vote, but they also vote with their feet.
Just around the corner, a little more than 200 meters away from the safe consumption site, this dad offers a different perspective. I mean, I know your kids are obviously very little, but have you seen discarded needles or behavior that you're concerned about?
Not really, because the school is really good at, they have the people walking around, make sure that doesn't happen. I think that's the reason why we have the site, right? So people go in and they discard the needles inside that. Otherwise, people are going to go around, and who knows what they're going to do.
Yes.
So it's better in control of those situations. Otherwise, it's going to those people, they're not going to quit overnight. So they're going to scatter all around the city. I think it'll make it worse.
A day later, a community rally to save the site filled the street with hundreds of supporters. Some business owners came out of their shops compelled to speak to us. This man doesn't share his name or want us to identify his business over fears he could be targeted.
I've had a business here for 25 years. And as soon as the safe injection site went in, it went bananas. People just pulling down their pants and defecating on the street. People caught in that funky chicken for hours on end, ambulances coming, overdoses, on and on and on and on and on. It's been an absolute nightmare. This block has always had the potential to be a thriving entity for businesses, and I've seen so many people come and go.
You're considering moving?
Yeah, it's actually pretty close.
This woman lives and works just steps away from the site.
I have complete sympathy for them, but it's scary going out alone. Like, I'll take my dogs out in the morning and I have to make sure there's no one sitting in my doorway, shooting up or smoking crack in my doorway. Even just 2 blocks down in Kensington, it's a completely different atmosphere. They don't want to come up here because they'll just get harassed and they have to see things that they don't want to see. And it's such a tourist hub in here that I feel like we're missing out on a lot of business because we're so close to it.
Like many cities and towns right now, Toronto is seeing a number of crises hitting all at once. Homelessness, opioid addiction, mental health. What's happening here in Kensington is a reflection of that. Everyone I spoke to wants to know, what's the solution? In a city this size, is it possible to move supervised drug consumption sites to new locations away from schools and daycares? But even that doesn't appear to be an option. As part of its proposal, the province wants to ban any new sites from opening. It says the focus must be on treatment and plans to add 19 new homelessness and addiction recovery treatment hubs. People who use the sites and who work there tell me it shouldn't be either or, and that the sites themselves can sometimes be the reason people stay alive long enough to get treatment.
When you think about this site closing, where will you go? Where do you think people will go?
How about the government's front doorstep? Let a few people go up there and die. See what you're going to say about that? I'd be more than willing to bring a few people up there, hey, that will overdose right in front of him on his doorstep and see how he likes it.